Too small to guard, too slow to switch onto, too unathletic to blow by anyone off the dribble. Not an A1 player, defensive liability. And then he just wins anyway, over and over. High school, college, international, now the NBA. Until winning is the only stat left that matters, and everybody who doubted him has to go back and find the clip where they said he couldn't do it. That's Jalen Brunson. That's the whole story. Let's get into why the league was right to be scared of exactly this. 5-star recruit, Naismith High School Player of the Year. Showed up at Villanova and won a national championship as a freshman. Won a second one as a junior, this time as a unanimous National Player of the Year and a consensus first-team All-American. 2 rings, 1 individual award that only goes to the single best player in the entire sport. And a resume that, by any normal logic, says lottery pick before he even declares. 2018, Jalen Brunson is sitting through the draft watching player after player get called before him. National Player of the Year, national champion at Villanova twice. One of the most efficient, productive guards college basketball had seen in years. And the league's collective response was, yeah, but... He ranked in the 98th percentile in points per possession, 98th percentile as a pick-and-roll ball handler, 96th percentile out of isolation. He shot 40.8% from 3. Numbers that shouldn't put a guy in the lottery, attached to a player who had already won more than almost anyone in the building. But nope, he fell to the 33rd pick, 32 names called ahead of him. Role players, projects, guys who never started an NBA game. And somehow, all 32 looked more appealing on paper than the National Player of the Year. Why? Lack of burst and bounce, heavy-footed for a point guard. Difficult to envision him containing many NBA starting speedsters. Translation? The guy can't jump high enough and can't run fast enough, so who cares what the stat sheet says? Who cares what the championships say? Sound familiar? It's the same lazy scouting report the league has written before. Brunson just got his own copy of it. 32 players got picked before a National Player of the Year who'd already won 2 college championships. That's the entire league looking at the same tape and agreeing, collectively, on the wrong conclusion. One team was willing to take the gamble, Dallas. But even the team that drafted him never fully bought in, because years later, when it mattered most, they weren't committed enough to bet everything on Brunson. Dallas, 2018 to 2022. Brunson comes in as the 33rd pick, behind a guy who fell into the Mavericks' lap in the same draft and became the actual face of the franchise almost immediately. Luka Doncic gets the ball, the touches, the shots, the keys to the offense. While Luka, the Wonder Boy, gets to control the team in an instant, Brunson has to earn his minutes off the bench. A steady climb that nobody outside Dallas was paying attention to. For 4 years, the Mavericks had both of them in the same backcourt at the same time, a luxury most franchises never got, and treated it like a rotation decision instead of the foundation of a dynasty. He's good, genuinely good, efficient, smart, never the story. Averaging modest, sensible numbers while playing the role he was drafted to play. The connector, the secondary option, the guy who makes the genuinely talented player's life easier. 277 games, 11.9 points, 3.7 assists, 3 rebounds a game across 4 years. Solid. But let's be real, nothing's special. Sure, he'll be a terrific 6th man, nothing more. And then 2021 happens. Luka goes down in the playoffs. Brunson takes over as the Mavericks' primary engine for stretches against the Clippers. And for the first time, people who weren't paying attention before suddenly are. This isn't a flash. This is Dallas getting handed direct, undeniable proof on a playoff stage of exactly what Brunson could be as a number 1 option. He's scoring at will. He's finding his spots. He has this confidence that you cannot deny. It should have been the moment Dallas locked him up and built around him long term. Him and Luka together for the next decade. Instead, they looked at the evidence and decided to lowball him anyway. The Mavericks let him hit restricted free agency in 2022 and watched him walk to the Knicks on a 4-year, $104 million deal. Betting on Luka as the singular face of the franchise and treating Brunson as expendable depth. 3 years later, Brunson is a finals MVP and a franchise cornerstone in New York. Dallas, meanwhile, would go on to trade Luka Doncic himself, blowing up the exact timeline they chose Brunson's departure to protect. They didn't just let a good role player leave. They let go of one half of what should have been a championship era to preserve a plan that didn't survive 3 more years anyway. So Brunson arrives in New York carrying 2 things at once: a contract that undersold him and a league that still hadn't updated its opinion of him. Even before he played a single game in a Knicks jersey, the doubt followed him across state lines. Just look at what Stephen A. Smith said. No one in their right minds will think that he's going to be the king of New York. But right from the start, there were signs. He's good, genuinely good, all-star level good. Finally, he's the first option, and it's not just another team. It's a decent big market team, bigger than Dallas. And when the lights get brighter, the noise gets louder too. December 2023, Becky Hammon, Hall of Famer, former Spurs assistant, somebody who has actually coached at the highest level of this sport, goes on NBA Today and says the Knicks don't have what it takes. They don't have a dude. They've got to have a dude. You've got to have a A1 dude, and they're missing that. Kendrick Perkins pushes back, says they do have that dude, says his name, Jalen Brunson. He's too small. If your best player is small, you're not winning. And then, because she clearly believes it, she names her exceptions. Steph Curry, that's it. That's the list. Steph Curry is the only dude. That's the take, out loud, on national television. A 6'2" guard who just put up historic college numbers and was quietly building one of the best offensive seasons in Knicks history gets publicly written off because of his height on a roster sheet. And here's the part that makes it worse for her, not better. This is someone who genuinely understands the game, citing real history. She'd compare him to Iverson and Nash later, and still landing on the conclusion that size beats everything else, no matter what the footage says. That's how deep this bias runs in basketball. Now, before this turns into a complete victory lap, let's give Hammon her due, because the criticism wasn't coming from nowhere. It was coming from real observable weakness that genuinely existed. He's not blowing by anybody. Lack of burst, heavy feet for the position. Defensively, he was historically a question mark coming out of college, and early in his career, that limitation showed up on tape constantly. He's not 6 foot 6 inches. He's not switching onto bigger wings and erasing possessions the way the prototypical modern superstar does. Every box that 1A dude supposedly needs to check, Brunson walks in without checking. The size argument isn't fake. It's just incomplete. Because what it misses is what he does with footwork, with change of pace, with an absolutely surgical pull-up jumper, and with a mid-range pocket that the league has been trying to kill for a decade, and that he treats like his personal apartment. He doesn't need to jump over you. He needs you to be a half step wrong, and then it's over. That's a different kind of dominance, and it took him years of grinding to sharpen that skill into something a 6 9" defender genuinely cannot solve. And the doubt Brunson personally carried was only half the weight on his shoulders. The other half belonged to the franchise itself. Because being underestimated as a player is one thing. Being asked to single-handedly undo 3 decades of organizational dysfunction is another. He needed to turn around a franchise and put an entire city on his back. Many superstars and even Hall of Famers tried and failed. Patrick Ewing, Carmelo Anthony, none of them gave New York what they truly wanted, a championship. 27 years of frustration and dysfunction. No winning record from 2001 to 2010. An 8-18 playoff record from 2011 to 2022. 7 straight missed playoffs from 2014 to 2020. That's the institutional baggage Brunson signed up for when he chose New York over staying in Dallas's shadow. And ever since Brunson came in 2022, it's always just 1 or 2 series short. They can't get past the gauntlet in the East. 2026 genuinely felt like the last straw for the Knicks. 1 more year without even a finals appearance could raise eyebrows, and could prove Becky Hammon right. It's now or never. In the first round, the Knicks fell behind the Atlanta Hawks 2-1, before ripping off 3 straight wins to close it out in 6. Then they got serious, swept the Philadelphia 76ers in the second round, swept the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals. A sweep. In the conference finals, 11 straight postseason wins on the back of 2 sweeps. The Knicks weren't sneaking into the finals. They closed out series against the Hawks, Sixers, and Cavaliers by a combined 118 points. They were steamrolling people. But here's the thing about everything we just covered. Too small. Can't guard anybody. Not a real 1A. All of it was about to be tested on the one stage where there's nowhere left to hide. Against the single most physical dominant defensive force the league has produced in years. And waiting for them on the other side, Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs had taken the long road, grinding through a 7-game war with Oklahoma City just to get to the finals at all. Brunson's first ever finals, and the bright lights of the NBA Finals crept up on him a little bit. Over the first 3 games, the Spurs' big, physical perimeter defenders made life miserable for him. He scored 82 points on 81 shots through 3 games, with as many turnovers as assists, 13 of each. Inefficient, careless, a shell of the player who had just steamrolled 3 straight playoff opponents. And the narrative wrote itself in real time. This was the matchup everyone had warned about since the day the finals matchup was set. A 6-foot 2-inch guard who lives on footwork and craft running directly into a 7'4" unanimous Defensive Player of the Year, built to take all of that away. For 3 games, the takes piled up. He can't do this on the biggest stage. This is exactly what people meant. Here we go again. Against a defense built around a 7'4" unanimous Defensive Player of the Year. The matchup nightmare everyone warned you about looked, for 3 games, like it might actually be real. Then Game 4 happened. The Knicks fell behind by 29 points in the third quarter, down 81-52. The kind of deficit that ends a championship dream on paper. Brunson and the Knicks would have found themselves tied 2-2 going back to San Antonio. And you don't want the Spurs to have that advantage. You've worked hard to get those 2 in San Antonio just to choke in New York. The best fans in the world waited for decades just to see a massacre. And for Jalen Brunson, he wasn't to let that be the case. Shot after shot, possession after possession, Jalen Brunson silently, slowly took over the game. Brunson scored 36 points that night, and the Knicks completed the largest comeback in NBA Finals history, winning 107-106, thanks to the hand of OG and De'Aaron Fox. And the closeout game, Brunson never looked back as he dropped 45 points out of the Knicks' 94. In Game 5. First Knicks championship since 1973. 53 years. Finals MVP. Sit with that for a second. 53 years is longer than most of the people watching this video have been alive. It's Patrick Ewing's entire Hall of Fame career, and he never got one. It's Carmelo's prime gone without one. It's multiple generations of Knicks fans who grew up, had kids, and in some cases became grandparents without ever seeing this team win at all. New York is the biggest stage in the sport, and for 53 years it gave its fans nothing but heartbreak with better seats. 53 years of nothing, and the guy who ends it is the 2nd-round pick who fell to 33 because he supposedly couldn't jump high enough. And here's where it gets genuinely good. His own teammate, Mikal Bridges, goes on a live stream and just tells everyone exactly what fueled this. I appreciate Becky, no cap. The words she said about can't win with JB being a 1A, 1B, he's too little, all that did is fuel that. He motivated when he wake up, it just added to it. Bridges even defended Hammond for it. Becky the GOAT, don't disrespect Becky. She said what she said. She motivated that bro. So the guy who doubted him gets credit for accidentally building the monster that beat the league. That's not even disrespect. That's just basketball being basketball. Basketball gods doing its work. You hand a guy like Brunson a reason and he turns it into a championship parade. Brunson never directly responded to Hammond by name. He didn't need to. At the parade in front of more than 1 million people, he said it without saying it. There's a lot of people that have a lot of negative stuff to say. There's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions. But when you prove them wrong, you really don't have to say S to them. They don't deserve it. That's it. Not a call out, not a name, just a guy holding the Larry O'Brien trophy, telling 1 million people that the people who doubted him don't even get the satisfaction of a direct response. The silence is the response. So here's the only question worth asking now. A 5-star recruit, a 2-time national champion, a unanimous National Player of the Year, A Finals MVP who just ended a 53-year championship drought with 45 points in the biggest game of his life. How does a player with that resume ever fall to the 33rd pick? He doesn't. Not because of anything real on the tape. He does because the league decided height and speed mattered more than winning, and kept deciding that year after year, team after team, until 32 of them were proven wrong at once. Finals MVP, unanimous, 45 points in the game that mattered most against the best defender alive. The league was right to be scared of him. They just figured it out 2 rounds too late. A 33rd pick just gave a city its first championship in 53 years. Write that on the scouting report.